Hello, everybody. This is the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders, and I'm pleased to have on the Offensive Player of the Week for Week 2 of the Connecticut high school football season from Northwest United, the quarterback senior, Ben Roden. Ben, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
The week that you had, 5 touchdowns is just ridiculous, right? Especially too in the attempts. Like a lot of times, regardless if it's high school, college, or pro, when I see 5 touchdowns, I'm anticipating like 20, maybe 30 attempts. You only had 11, completed 9 of 11. So when you look back on that, Ben, like that must have been pretty cool to be able to get the touchdowns and not have to throw the ball too much.
Yeah, it was great. The receivers did great job after the catch, making plays.
Hmm.
That's a big emphasis this season. Is like improving yards after catch through receivers, and they've done a great job this year. So they make my job a lot easier, not having to throw much.
So it sounds like to me that the yak yards, like yak yards after catch, sounds like that's a big thing for Coach Jen in this offense that you are running being the quarterback.
Yeah, last year we didn't have many like explosive plays after the catch. So that's been a thing we've worked on all off season, and it's paying off. Only having to throw 9 times and 5 of them were touchdowns.
But I want to go back really quick because I remember doing your games when you were young, right? Freshman, sophomore. Again, you weren't very tall. And then looking at last year and seeing how much you grew, right? And I think about how that could be articulated with basketball as far as your shooting and just getting acclimated to your long arms, legs, and all that, right? But in football, did you have to kind of, I don't want to say grow into the position, but kind of get used to being tall, especially being a quarterback?
Yeah, it definitely took time, like, from growing from being shorter to taller, it's definitely different.
Mhm.
Um, Being, like, in the pocket, seeing I could see everything better now being taller, it's an advantage, but it's definitely changed a lot of things about my game for sure.
Was there anything in particular before you hit your growth spurt that maybe you kind of, I don't want to say struggled, but like you said, seeing over the defense, your offensive lineman, maybe picking up on things on the defensive side? Was there anything that was a struggle before, but is a little bit easier now?
Yeah, I think just, seeing and reading the defense is a whole lot easier now, being able to,
Hmm.
actually see o over the offensive line. Um, so yeah, just reading the defense, that's helped a lot, especially being such an important thing at quarterback. Grateful to be tall now.
I bet you are. Hey, it helps to be tall, right? For a lot of reasons. I want to go back to last year quick because I feel like the momentum that you guys built. I mean, you guys are 2-0 right now. You beat a non-tech team in East Lyme, which was very impressive and something that I'm sure you've heard from various outside people. The tech teams don't play outside the tech, right? Well, you guys did, and you won your game. So, it's one of those things where you did it, and it's like now people hopefully will kind of calm down, right? But what you guys were able to do last year, being 10-0 and such, and just kind of building on that momentum, even with the loss to Massick last year in the double M playoff game in the quarterfinal. Um, what were you able to take from last year, and how have you been able to kind of carry that over into this year?
Yeah, so I think, we didn't have, like, huge expectations going into last year, being
Mhm.
7-3 the year before. Nobody, I don't really think, expected us to be 10-0 making the state playoffs.
Mhm.
So we've kinda just kept that mentality of being the underdog, and nobody believes in us, especially, like you said, being a tech team.
Mhm.
They say we can't beat other teams outside of our conference, and we proved that week 1 beating a good East Lyme team. So we're just the underdog mentality stuck with us through last year to now,
Mhm.
and that playoff game still sits with all the players that were there last year. We know we have to be better, and we will be better. So
With the amount of because people don't know Northwest United is a co-op, and it's not just one school, it's not just two schools, it's what, six, seven, it's a bunch of schools. So when you have all that coming together, I mean, you got kids from different parts of I don't want to say the woods, but it kind of gets there when you think about it with Momogo and the whole nine. So when you think about that, and then you're bringing everybody together for practices, games. You accomplish what you've had the last couple of years, 7-3, 10-0, now 2-0 through now going into week three. Have you been able to kind of look at that and be like, what we're doing right now, like this is a special thing that's being accomplished?
Yeah, it's definitely a special thing that we're doing. And a lot of it's the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
We have some of the best coaches in the state. I think they're able to bring us all together, even though, like you said, we're 5 or 6 school co-op. They're able to bring us, unite us really together, be able to play as a team, and the players do a great job of it too, just communicating and
Mm-hmm.
making friendships with like new teammates and teammates that you don't go to school with. So just hanging out with each other, getting like our chemistry up, it's helped us a lot this season.
And that kind of makes sense with the United part at the end, Northwest United, and then United being able to bring all the schools, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. That's pretty cool right there. So, I want to look into the East Lyme game because that's why I have you on here, throwing for 5 touchdowns and such. Preparing for that game. What was your when you were watching film and you were kind of looking at the defenses and you were preparing for the game? What were some things that you were focused on heading into the game?
Yeah, so their corners like to be aggressive, they like to press. So our offense, when we watched that film, we thought that was disrespectful. If you're gonna press our receivers, we're gonna make you pay. So that's just kind of the mindset we went in there with.
Mhm.
They were a great team. It was a great game. I mean, so just we all the offense was able to click on all cylinders. The offensive line did a great job protecting me.
Mhm.
The receivers made great plays with the ball as well, so it was just a team win.
You talk about how Eastline was playing press and maybe should have been doing what the Jets did against the Cowboys, although kind of the Cowboys made the Jets pay rather because they were playing zone. And obviously, CeeDee Lamb caught a bunch of balls over 100 yards, so on and so forth. When you saw how they were doing what you said early on in the game, were you thinking in your mind, I know you only threw the ball 11 times, but were you thinking to yourself, oh, they're sticking to their game plan? Now, like you said, it's disrespectful. I'm going to make them pay.
Yeah, I think so. After every drive, we'd huddle up, like talk about what we did, we could do better, and we saw they weren't going to change out a man. They were going to stay in that. So,
Mhm.
I mean, the offensive coordinator, Coach McQueenie, he did a great job. Just keep attacking them deep.
Mhm.
And if they weren't willing to change that defense, we knew we could do some explosive things on offense.
Was there any throws out of it's crazy. I'm saying out of 11 throws, but out of those 11, were there any throws that you kind of look back at since you completed nine of them? Only two of them were incomplete, but not every throw you would say, I'm sure, like, oh, that was a great throw. Maybe your wide receiver bailed you out. Maybe you got lucky because it was tipped and right to the hands, whatever the case may be. Was there a couple throws that you look back on in that game like, I wish I could get that back. It could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so for sure. You can most of the time you're never going to throw a perfect ball, so there's always a better spot you could put it to give the receiver a better chance to make a better play.
Mhm.
But there's one in particular, it was fourth down. Had RJ Barksdale on the corner. I had to roll out, so just missed him a little short, but that was probably the biggest one I like to have back.
I look at the game against Massick, and obviously them being in the conference that they are in the SWC, very strong teams. Obviously, Newtown's having a great year this year. They're usually almost always pretty consistently good. Pombrook's having a good start to the year. Bunnell beat Hand week one, and I think they're 2-0 too. But the point I'm trying to make is when you go up against a team like Massick, right? A little different than what you've seen even this year, right? A little bit difference of a team. Were you guys able to take some of that with returning players like yourself? Take that knowledge and utilize that for this season because there's aspirations that you continue on doing what you're doing in Class M. You have an opportunity to be able to not only make the playoffs again, but now you've already gone against, and more likely, you'll see a team outside the Tech League. So you'll be facing a Massick or, maybe not so much a Massick, but you know what I'm saying, a team outside. What says you?
Yeah, I think we were able to take a lot from that game. I think just the physicality, especially was different. So I think that's something we've been focused on, getting bigger in the weight room.
Mhm,
all that. We've seen improvements already this year from last year.
mhm.
So I think that was probably the biggest thing that we took away from that game is just physicality and just we got to play faster and more aggressive.
For you specifically, because you only play quarterback, correct? Or do you play anywhere else?
Just quarterback.
Okay, so the aggressive part, I mean, you can't get into the dirt and mud and trying to like push people, right? I know offensive linemen, they love going forward. They would love to run block every play. Passing a little different. They got to move backwards. They don't like that. But for you to be aggressive as a quarterback, I know you got a strong arm. I know you could sling the pigskin. Are you looking at trying to do like for a quarterback to be aggressive, maybe throwing outside the numbers more, maybe standing in the pocket, even if you got to take a hit, you'll get the chunk yards with that. Is that the kind of aggressiveness that you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. Just standing in the pocket, taking hits, if it means completing balls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even being physical as a runner, pick up short yardage when we need first downs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of the mindset that we've gotten into as an offense. Just take the hits if it's going to give us something positive.
What's it been like, the last couple years? And I know obviously with kids graduating and such, it kind of, you got to rebuild, not so much rebuild, but you got to make, new friendships, teammates, so on and so forth. But with the kids that have been around since you've been there, and now it being your senior year with a bunch of other guys, right? Talk to me about kind of the buildup of that, and then with it now being your senior year, what the potential could be for this team this year.
Yeah, I think the potential is all the way through the roof. I think we can do a lot of special things this year that nobody thinks we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe we can make the playoffs and do well in the playoffs. But yeah, just the friendships from sophomore year to now, it's changed a lot through seniors leaving and getting new freshmen that make impact right away. You kind of have to become friends with them and like talk and communicate to them like almost immediately. You don't There's not much time to waste.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we everybody's done a great job of that. Just welcoming people in so they can all be successful and help us win.
Do you guys take it personal with what's been mentioned over the years with the tech league, tech teams, that when they get into the playoffs, like, oh, they should have their own tech league? They shouldn't be because they're taking a spot away from a non-tech team. Because, I mean, you guys aren't dumb. You have phones. You can go back and look at the past CIAC scores. The tech league games in the playoffs have been, except for maybe one or two over the last 20 years or however long it's been, they've been basically one-sided. You guys know that. And, is that something that stays in your guys' mind? And if you guys are able to make the playoffs again, is that something that could kind of drive you guys a little bit more to hopefully maybe not have that happen and maybe even be on the other side of that? What says you?
Yeah, I believe we all see the comments made about the tech league and whatever. We can't compete with the other leagues. But
Mm.
I think we all in our locker room, we all believe we can. We don't really mind what those people say because we're just gonna go prove them wrong once again. So that's kind of the mentality we have. We're just ready to win one game at a time, focus on one opponent, and see what happens from there.
Ben, talk to me about how much Jen has meant to this program because I know she has, and she's a big figure as far as from Watertown and what she was able to accomplish there back in the day. But being a part of this program and kind of being a part of the inception of it and seeing the success that has been now multiple years. I mean, obviously, to be a co-op team and to win consistently is hard enough because of the number of kids trying to, you know, two schools is enough. 5, 6 is like ridiculous, but she's able to make it work. And I know she's got a staff; they all do it together. But she's the head coach, so if they win a game, you guys win. She gets the credit, as do the kids. Team loses, which doesn't happen much. It's only been 4 times over the last 3 years, 7 and 3 year, and then the loss to Massick last year. Obviously they'd be like, "Oh, okay, what happened with Jen? Like, were the boys not ready? What happened?" So, how is just talking about how being a part of being able to be playing for her and such? How has that been?
Yeah, it's great. I love playing for her. She prepares us every week to go win. I think that's the biggest thing, just putting the best 11 players on the field so we have the best chance to win. And I think she does a great job of that all week with the game plan,
Mhm.
uh, motivation before the game. Halftime adjustments have been a big thing for us. A lot of times last year we were in a close game around the half, and we
Mhm.
were able to make the adjustments through her that helped us win the game. So it's been great playing for her. All of us, she's a players coach. We all love playing for her, and just great.
Do you feel like Ben too that when you think about okay, so you look at like the NVL, right, where I broadcast, Holy Cross, Naugatuck, the blue, the blue bloods, right? You go to the SWC, I mentioned Newtown, Pomperaug for years was dominant, so on and so forth. I could go on and on and on. Do you now, obviously, you only have now a couple months, right, of your football career left. Hopefully, you have more in terms of college down the road. But in terms of the high school level, what you guys have left is irreplaceable, but you've left a standard. Do you feel like what you guys have done can kind of make Northwest United a blue blood in the CTC, in the Tech League? What says you?
Yeah, I believe so. I think we have great freshman classes, the young kids coming up that are going to develop through the coaches.
Mhm.
Um, I think the coaches, once again, do a great job of developing people. I could see it from my sophomore year to our senior group. Now everybody has improved drastically throughout the 2 3 years they've been with the program.
Mhm.
So I think definitely could be a blue blood through the CTC, especially with the great underclassmen. There's already underclassmen now that are contributing on varsity. So yeah.
That's impressive. That's really good. And that shows kind of not only how athletic and how good they are to be on the varsity level, but that shows the kind of depth that you'll have later in the season. Because if you can count on some freshmen to play, then you can give the older guys a little bit of a breather, give them some plays off, allow them to be more fresh.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be huge for us.
Ben, I really appreciate you coming on. Congratulations on being the offensive player of the week. Before I let you go really quick, obviously you've got the long hair, you got the flow. I'm sure you've been called sunshine or something. Maybe you haven't. Maybe I
Yeah.
have to call you that during the basketball broadcast. I'll talk to Coach Fitzpatrick about that.
All right.
I'll ask him if I can do that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll ask your dad because he's one of the coaches too.
Yeah.
So, but have you been coined like are you called the Trevor Lawrence of the Northwest United program? Anything?
No, I haven't heard that one yet. I've heard Sunshine though.
I'm shocked not Trevor Lawrence though. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping I'd get called Trevor Lawrence, but not yet.
But hey, Ben, it's been awesome. Best of luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to be able to see you sometime this football season. If not, I'll see you on the basketball court. We'll be at Nanawag a number of times this year. So Ben's been, or not so much Ben, but Tim's been asking me come down to do some games. So I have to go down there.
Yeah.
You know. But hey, congratulations, Ben, being the offensive player of the week.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on here. It was great.
Awesome. Now wrap things up here on the CT Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm enduring find them all. Drill this your day, everybody, and be well.